Ladies and Sentinels, we've got a 3-episode arc of Time Ranger and a guest new to the show, so there's no seconds to waste on an intro. But listeners, I'd love to dedicate minutes to your waist, W-A-I-S-T. You're looking good today, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But get ready to burst them guts with laughter because my name is James.
I'm Nicole.
And this is Mostly Speaking Sentai. Oh, guys, yes. Like I said, me named James, and oh no, beer bad. Oh no, we're crossing the streams of 2 different podcasts. It looks like the walls are cracking in my psyche. And you want to open up and see what I got inside? Well, guess what I've got inside? I think... Like the poltergeist, doesn't a guy's face rip apart in that? I don't know.
I've never seen it.
Oh man, you better not see it, because then whenever you see a TV screen turn on and there's a ducky laughing at you, you'll be like, no, she got murdered by her dad. But ladies and gentlemen, that's just real life. Yeah, but the actress is also in that movie. Yeah. She plays Ducky, and Steven Spielberg, it was the worst day of his life having to be a pallbearer at that little girl's funeral.
Why'd you I guess this story arc is kind of dark, but like...
The walls are cracking. Our wall is cracking. That's why I said that.
All of the walls are cracked.
Whoa, Nicole. Oh my God. Maybe we are.
Because this place hasn't been painted in like 2 decades.
Also, you got radiator heat. You got radiator queefs. That's a queef or actually a radiator does queef sometimes. It goes...
Sure.
But you've heard her talking. You've heard her squawking. It's my bride to never be. Please marry me.
Stop introducing me that way.
It's factual and cracks you will under the pressure of my questioning, Nicole. Let me ask you where you were yesterday.
Here.
Okay, that makes sense. I saw you here.
Always.
How have you been today?
Tired.
Under pressure.
Unmotivated.
Why?
The fucking quarantine, bro.
It is the end of the world. It's a hard time to be.
Oh yeah.
Maximum energized, you know?
Our guest knows what's up.
It's hard to be psyched about literally nothing.
I don't know. There's a lot to be psyched about in the world. You got...
Like, if you think about, you're like... You know, like, what do I have to look forward to in the future? Like, what am I excited about? There's literally, I can't think of anything.
Godzilla vs. King Kong?
Literally nothing.
There's a bunch of Ultraman releases coming out. Some DVDs, huh?
Valentine's Day is tomorrow upon this record.
I guess.
True.
You guess it's positive.
It's just Valentine's Day.
Oh my God. Nicole used to love Valentine's Day.
That's a lie.
She actually wants to change it to Sonic the Hedgehog Day, but... I don't know
how. To be fair, that was when the last when Sonic the Hedgehog came out. That was my last Valentine's Day and my last time in a theater. Was
Ours
Sonic the
too.
Hedgehog.
Us too, guest.
Man,
Ours
wow.
too.
Guest, are you dating someone currently, or was that just your last date?
Okay. Sorry, our last out of the house date was we are still dating and we still do dates, but they're all like, you know, I cook a nice dinner kind of date. It's not like a go to a place.
Do you fuck on the regs? I'm kidding. No.
Oh.
Do you live together?
You know, your neighbors, the regs.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what?
Oh.
Sorry.
What?
You
no,
fuck on them?
No, well...
You line your neighbors up and you like a bed.
Me and the regs used to have a really strong connection. And, you know, it's just... As time goes on, you know, those relationships and those tethers that you build with people that you come to and on... eventually start to break down. Mm-hmm, and you know, we all have to be okay with moving on. So yes, I do miss the regs. And I miss our intimacy, but no, I do have still my significant other who is significantly better at most computer things than I am. So it's a miracle that I've made this computer work long enough to record some kind of audio.
Hell yeah. Nice. What you should do is just like open your bubble so you don't need to miss your neighbors I don't know if you're in a house but if you're in an apartment, this is better. If you're wall to wall, break down them walls, Jericho
Break down
style.
those walls. Make a new social bubble here in the quarantine. So that's true. I could. The bad news is I'm in a house and all of my neighbors have constantly had bumping parties.
Oh yeah.
And it's heartbreaking. I want to be at those parties. I want to be at that barbecue backyard. But also I enjoy my lungs. So it's a toss up, really. But yeah.
Well, man, that sounds quite weird if I ask. And yes, guys, the weird
Please
falls
don't.
in to our guest.
This bit isn't even funny.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and ghouls, you know him from Tokyo Lives or Tokyo Lives. I'm unsure.
Oh.
But you know him as Robert. You might know him as Rob. But here we know him as someone who...
Bobby!
Oh, yeah, Bobby. Yeah, you're Bobby. From Tokyo
True,
Lives.
yeah.
God damn it, Bobby.
Bobby, it's a pet name. It's really only for the people that are the closest to my heart. So keep that on the DL. I think we should probably we'll just edit that out. It's fine. But yeah,
We're cyberly
hey,
close
gang.
to your heart. ASL, baby.
Not as close as the regs.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, not as close anymore. It's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, hey, it's me, Rob from Tokyo Lives, Giant Monster Podcast, and occasionally Giants like bite-sized kaiju podcast. I do a thing called Tokyo Signals, which is where you guys and I first met. I mean, not first met. We first met just talking on Twitter, but like in person. But yeah, you get it.
Yeah. Oh, cyberly through person.
I'm, like, still not even in
cybernetically.
person.
That's true. We are on the opposite ends of the continental United States, I believe.
Sure. Why
you're
not?
basically in Canada. I'm basically in Mexico.
Yeah.
It's
the same thing.
Oh, continental United States.
Yeah.
I thought you
Yes,
meant like the
yeah.
continent
No.
of... Because
No,
we're not in
no.
Hudson Bay. Fuck those people. I'm
You're
kidding.
not-
I don't have any problems with the people in northern Hudson Bay.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, they're all right. They're sturdy people. When you were talking about head splitting open, I thought you were about to make a From Beyond reference where his pineal gland shoots out of the front of his head and starts like wiggling around and touching someone's face.
I haven't seen that.
Ew.
I'm not allowed to watch video nasties.
Oh, well, yeah, it gets pretty nasty. But I feel like you'd like any Jeffrey Combs movie.
I think that's the movie I'm thinking of. Is it like the Seven Seals? Is that the other name for the movie?
Well, no, Seven Seals is its own thing. It's the same guy who did Reanimator, which is like that, the doctor
Yeah.
jabs a glowing green needle into people and it
Oh
brings
God,
it back
I
to
wish
life.
I could do that.
There's blood spraying all over the place. Good practical effects. It's a lot of fun. This one's about like, I don't know, you can dream eldritch realities into reality, and
Okay.
then you turn into a weird slug monster. That's about it.
Maybe I'm thinking of Beyond or The Beyond, which was a movie that was a video nasty in UK, and then they had to re-edit it to be, I think they renamed it to like the Seven Seals or something. Don't fucking at me unless it's in a 5-star iTunes review.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
But Rob, I alluded to it earlier. You're weird, man. You're from
Am I?
Austin.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Hold on now. Austin is corporatized weirdness. It's no longer weird. I mean, we used to have icons like Leslie, who was like basically like almost mayor of Austin, who was just a cross-dresser that everyone loved. And we just loved them to death. And like that was kind of like indicative of what Austin was. People would come here for live music. They'd come for just the culture. And now it's just kind of like bottled and sold on a t-shirt. So I don't know if I count as weird anymore. I count as like a corporate drone with weird stamped on the back of my head, like a bad hitman.
It may be corporate, but like, isn't Bumble stationed out of there? That's a pretty weird app. Women get to choose. What will the world think of next?
Wow. It's true.
But
Women making decisions. Yes.
I'm glad you bring this up because I want to truly make Austin weirder. Not just weird.
Okay.
Let's make it weird again. Even though we
Okay.
can't really say that.
We
So,
don't say that phrase. We don't like, yeah, we're not going to crib that one.
yeah. Okay, so I'm going to bring up some news from Austin, and I want how you would make this weird.
Oh boy, we've had some weird stuff happening recently. So yeah, feel free.
Okay, the first. Before our recording, you were talking about how the weather outside is right now. Look out your window.
It's frightful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it like right now?
Oh, it is gray and dead. There's no trees anymore. A strong gust came through my neighborhood, and now it's just
the trees are gone.
Yeah, it's just a vacant. It's kind of like a Mad Max wasteland, except instead of sand, it's ice.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't really have snow. We just kind of get like a thin layer of ice on everything here.
And that's uncommon, you say?
Quite. We used to have like a snow day once every 2 years, and now we've had 2 in the span of like about 2 weeks, and it was 80 degrees last week. So,
we got one snow day a year, but we lived in Michigan. Am I right? Yeah.
Our town was just very well equipped.
Our school just never closed.
What's so weird is because we had like back road livers. So
like,
even
like dirt roads. And
so
shit.
they'd be like, well, hey, if they can get out of their roads, everyone else can. So we would rarely get them, even though everyone else in our area.
There are a lot of student drivers.
Yeah, it was all bad. Hey, just take the bus then. But here are 13 fun things to do to keep your children busy during Austin's freeze. I'm just going to list a few things that this article listed.
Is this from Austin 512?
I don't.
Or Do 512?
It's from like Austin Stories, with Howard Kramer.
Oh yes, yeah.
No,
I know them.
It's
I know
from,
their works.
I don't know where I pulled these from. I should have. I was like, I don't need to put this down, but I guess I should have. The first is VR museum visits. Next is plan and make a meal together. Homemade Play-Doh dough, a movie marathon. And lastly, have a dragon contest, which I think is a possible typo on the article's behalf. I'm guessing it should be hold a drag contest.
A dragon contest sounds rad, though. So here's the thing, right?
That's pretty weird.
All weirdness in the era of corporatized America isn't just like estranged wackiness happening. Instead, wackiness is now rebranded and corporatized. It's a monetizable thing. And since it has to be all pre-approved, the only real wacky thing you can do is actually take all of those things and combine them onto one list. So taking your VR headset, you have to design a Play-Doh themed meal for your Dragon Museum. Now, what does that mean exactly? Well, okay, let's talk about Dragon Museum first. This is a really important step because we have to understand this. Everyone knows what Play-Doh is. Everyone knows what food is. But a Dragon Museum? I'm glad you asked. See, a Dragon Museum is not what you would think. It's not a museum where you get to visit dragons. It's a museum for dragons, specifically. Scalies typically like to venture out into these, although also real life dragons. That's right. Here in corporate America, we've genetically engineered a handful of dragons because
Jurassic
it's
Park.
wackadoodle.
Dragonheart.
And in this dragon themed museum, you get to see what are the wacky things that dragons like to see? Well, obviously their history. You get to see Dragonheart. You get to see some spin-offs. You get to see like Atragon, the radioactive dragon, which was the knockoff Godzilla movie that they made in Japan. What else here? What are some dragons? We got How to Train Your Dragon. All of these are actually historical accounts of the
Spyro.
narrative of dragons throughout years. Oh, yeah. Spyro. Very, very important.
So many eggs.
Oh, a lot of eggs.
Speaking of eggs, alien xenomorphs, they're dragon-like, are they?
They're kind of dragons. Yeah.
Dragon tails. Okay.
Ooh, that's right. That cartoon. Yeah, absolutely. There's not a lot of depictions of
Because you're chasing the dragon, which is heroin, or a high.
I feel like that's more like that's appropriative. That's humans taking dragon culture and rebranding it. And frankly, as hard as we're trying to get it out of our system, we do have a lot of corporate colonialism, but we're trying to avoid those kinds of things. So yeah, chasing the dragon, unfortunately, not really kosher here in these parts. But the good news is that Play-Doh is basically a drug if you eat enough of it. So you can still get high while wandering through this dragon museum with your
Hell
VR
yeah.
helmet, because you as a human are not allowed to go to an actual dragon museum, which is, again, just for dragons. So thank you very much.
Hell yeah. Let's get on to the next one, Nicole.
Jesus Christ.
All right. To keep the spirit of Mardi Gras alive in the pandemic times, Austinites are planning a socially distant extravaganza called Yardi Gras, where households will decorate their homes and garages in Mardi Gras float fashion that onlookers can view from the sidewalk. How would you make that weirder?
Okay, so another really important thing to note, Mardi Gras, well known for throwing beads and tops being removed. So
Hell yeah.
in that fashion, we have people standing next to their cars. And as you drive by, you're throwing these necklaces out. And if you happen to land on someone, they have to, with a screwdriver, start removing chunks of their car, slowly exposing it to the cold air. Listen, it's not what I want to do, but you got to keep Austin weird. There is actually a legit event happening at the Museum of Human Achievement, MOHA, which is literally car Mardi Gras, where they're having, like, you can drive through like this little like ring, and they're throwing like sanitized like necklaces into your car, and then you have like the sanitized speaker that they're handing to people so they can like tell a wacky story. That does sound pretty good in old Austin. So
Okay.
that's just, if anyone's listening from Austin, Texas, check out MOHA.
How about
Pretty weird.
we could also do this? Dunes, like when you travel in dunes.
The giant worms, yeah.
Yes, they have these huge antenna on them, so you know where the next worm is. So you don't, like, when you're going over a hill, another worm's coming. We need to know that. Maybe we have that on cars, and we throw and try and land it on the antenna.
On the car, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. That also makes it a little bit easier. You can stay inside your car until a necklace lands on it. Then you can jump out and, again, with the power tool, start ripping your car apart. Yeah.
You could also rip it apart from the inside out.
That's true. But, I mean, you know, as emotionally devastating as it is to be you know, stuck inside in the middle of, you know, a pandemic Mardi Gras, I feel like destroying your car from the inside, you know, actually, that's a pretty beautiful metaphor now that I think about it. So, yeah, it's good. I like it.
All right. Next up, we're halfway through. Okay. Feds have accused real estate executive Joseph Cable Barnes of partaking in the attempted Capitol siege. How would you make this weirder?
I think,
I can describe what he looked like during the siege.
I mean, feel free to describe what he looks like, but I think I actually know. Okay. So in Austin, there are famously a handful of townhouses that have been maintained since the 80s during a big coke bust that now the very wealthy and captured prisoners are able to maintain for the day that they'll eventually come out. And one recently was torn down and replaced with a condo. I'm wondering if this guy, in an attempt to try and fund the Capitol siege, I would love if the big reveal is that he sold this coke dealer's extravagant South Austin mansion to be converted into a 20 house condo, and that will lead to some wackadoodle times in the slammer.
This also has made it weird.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're Pete Holmes. You've made it weird. All right, I got one last one. Aerial shots recently showed a deserted image of the Mopac Expressway this week. I'd ask you to make this weirder, but how can I? Am I right?
That's true. I don't really know I don't know how to add to that.
I did good, Nicole.
man.
Actually, Nicole wrote all of these.
Cool, so I can go?
No.
Yeah. Oh.
But I'm guessing that's because it's very cold and people aren't driving. So, and this is normally packed.
I think it's mostly that, like, Texas drivers have no idea how. I've seen 2 accidents today just walking my dog. Texas drivers have no understanding of how to handle cold weather. Even if there isn't ice on the road, they drive like there's ice on the road. And how a Texan drives in the like snow is to gun it and then turn sharply left and right and hope that like through the friction you burn through the ice level and hit asphalt again. That's what we were taught in school.
That's the
That's what we're
opposite of what
raised-
you should do.
What?
Yeah.
Well, see, here's the thing. I lived in New Mexico for a short period of time, so I know how to drive in snow vaguely. Literally no one else in Texas has even remotely like half a clue. So probably what happened is someone pulled out onto the highway and then said, "Yeah," and then floored it, did a full 360 and then came to a full stop and then said, well, I don't need cars. And then they just moseyed. That's my assumption.
Man.
Is what happened is they just fully gave up on like even attempting to drive in, again, not icy road conditions, but simply treating the roads as though they were icy.
I'd like to see a Texan on a snowmobile.
It wouldn't be great.
They'd have
you ever seen
guns
that
out?
guy? Oh fuck, what's his name? Just gonna send it.
Yes,
It's gonna
yes,
be
we
a
have.
Good day.
Damn
You know, I'm
it.
going to send it.
You
You know
silly?
I'm gonna send it.
Yes, we've
He's like
seen
this
that dude.
Canadian mullet dude, which he's a huge inspiration to me. I don't know if you can see behind my headphones my ever-growing mullet or my jean vest, but he's a huge influence.
For the record, if you hit ice, you're supposed to keep your steering wheel like steady in the direction that you want to go. Like,
How do you
do
melt the
not
ice, though?
do it back and forth. That's bad.
I don't understand. How do you melt the ice, though? How do you make your tires hit asphalt again?
I know how to do this.
don't,
No, I know how to
friction,
do this.
right?
Okay.
On the front car, there will be a hole in the ground where a attendant will be injecting solution onto the rails so the rails don't freeze.
That's true.
Or you mod your car, okay, to have like
Cyberpunk style.
heaters in front of your front tires.
Oh, and just drive
And
really
to
slow.
activate them, you just have to jerk your wheel back and forth really fast.
And it creates like a very strong, exactly.
yeah.
Now you're thinking, how come someone hasn't thought of this before?
It definitely is probably not because it would melt your tires.
Not if it just warms up your tires, like to be 80 degrees.
Okay.
It makes them stickier and gives them good. I had a friend who was a huge car nut who genuinely believed that his like tires worked better if they were semi-melted from like driving really fast. And I was like, but I think that just makes your tires weaker. I'm not
that makes them
like a genius when it comes to most things, but I feel like he would like burn out at like stop signs and then like hit his brakes really hard to screech to a stop. And he's like, no, it helps my grip. It helps my car have better grip. I'm almost positive that's not at all the case. I haven't bothered to look this up, but I feel like that's not right.
One real quick thing, me explaining that the thing that happens on the rail, that is a very specific thing that happens on the CTA when it's an elevated train to prevent in cold weather the rails from freezing.
What? What?
There's a person up front and you can't sit on like half of the front car because an attendant will be like injecting a solution from like this huge canister down onto the tracks.
Oh.
Like an anti-freeze thing. Antifreeze.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure, maybe I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I heard that they would like have fires on to like defrost shit. I
Oh,
don't know.
maybe.
That doesn't sound safe.
I think
don't
on
know.
normal railways it would, but having fires on the CTA, like because it's electrical.
Like last year during the polar vortex.
Well, that was 2
I
years
don't
ago.
know. 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Time is
An illusion. Anything that happened anything that happened 2 years ago happened a year ago, and anything that happened last year didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
Is how my brain rationalizes things.
Oh, Franklin, where are you?
No, that's so dumb.
Yeah, I know. Our boy hasn't died.
Jesus, James.
I love you, Franklin.
Jeez.
Get on down here already.
Gee
All right.
willikers.
I think that's a great way to transition
Wow.
into today's topic. Oh, my God. But before we get into that, Robert, Bobby,
Yes.
how are you familiar with Power Rangers or Super Sentai? Have you had it in your past? Have you had it in your present? Let us know.
So, My experience with like Super Sentai started with, I mean, you know, just like everyone else, like Power Rangers, Super Cyber Samurai Squad, you know, all the Americanized versions. Only recently, with doing the spin-off Tokyo Live show, Tokyo Signals, have I actually like delved into proper Sentai shows, and like I think I might be a huge Sentai nerd.
Hell yeah.
I think I love everything about these shows. I've watched Kaku Ranger. I'm about like 12 episodes deep. I love everything I've seen. I've finished Ultraman Z while that was airing. I finished Zone Fighter recently. I just love live action tokusatsu TV shows so much.
Yes.
They are genuinely some of the most entertaining stuff. And I hadn't watched Time Ranger before you guys asked me to be on this show. So I watched the first few episodes. I skipped ahead to the episodes we're covering. And then I watched some of the like Power Rangers equivalent, and I am totally lost because it's like a sequel. And it's like weirdly CSI with it. It's just like the intro is like super like rainy, dark city streets. And they're like, oh, a criminal from the last season escaped and he's doing crimes.
I thought you were going to say doing crack.
Yeah, well, I mean, he might be. I don't know. I didn't watch past the first episode.
Okay.
But like, I love this stuff, man. And specifically this Mirai Time Ranger, Mirai Sentai Time Ranger, I love to death now. It's so good. And I really have to thank you for calling it to my attention.
Oh, no problem. I'm glad you like this. We also I think I prefer TV tokusatsu over movies just because I prefer TV over movies in general. But yeah, man, it's fun.
It is. I think it's because they have to capture a whole movie's worth of setup. After like, you know, identifying who the characters are, they have to do like, okay, here's the reason for a monster. Here's like the like narrative hook for the episode. Okay, here's the characters fighting the monster. Okay, here's the giant version of the monster. Every step is so well like refined that these episodes move at such a great pace, and every single monster design is the most wackadoodle, good, crazy stuff. It's just perfect. One of the things we're going to be talking about today is like a cyborg hammerhead shotgun man. That's amazing. How do you, I have like a theory that like, I love writing comedy. I've written like this very, very dumb like superhero novel that is just about dick jokes for superheroes. And in all my life, I feel like I'll never quite hit the like level of humor that is a well-timed fart. Like, just like as good as I get, I'll never be as good as a well-timed fart. I just won't.
Sure.
I feel that way creatively when it comes to like thinking of like monster designs in my head. No matter how good I will ever get at dreaming up a weird creature, I feel like Sentai shows are on the next level infinitely. It's so good. Every single creature design in this show is amazing.
Well, I have a recommendation for you to do word randomization. Yeah. That has helped me so much of just like create a formula. If you're like, oh, I want the monsters to be like an object mixed with an animal, and then get an emotion for a character trait, and then you can kind of roll out like that.
That would be that's a really genius idea, because so many of these things are like literally just like cyborg shark, mummy samurai, you know, like they're just thing plus thing. Frog gangster is the main antagonist of this show.
A whale.
Sorry, you're right. Whale gangster who farts to use his like fly move.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Which
incredible stuff.
Think that's like the only time he's done that.
He's done it once.
Yeah.
I feel like after watching the first episode, I was like, there's no way they're going to be able to have fights with this guy multiple times.
No, I don't think they ever fight with him ever again.
maybe the last episode or something, but like, yeah, I could see him being like, he's just in the background now.
Oh yeah. They're like, oh, you You have an issue in your downstairs. Please take some Tums or some, I don't know, Miralax. You have an issue. But speaking of Time Ranger, we watched a 3-episode arc. It was episodes 18, 19, and 20. Nicole, did you write down the names?
No.
I've got them.
Okay, awesome.
I wrote down a lot of notes. A shadowy premonition, the moonlit night, and the renewed bond.
Hell yeah. So this series has to do with time travel. So Rob, if you could go back in time, where would you go? And this is anything you want to do, but you can't murder. I just take that off the table so people aren't like, well, I want to do something selfish, but I also, would, I guess, have to like kill. Oh God, I forgot their names. Never. I was gonna list the names of the Columbine shooters for the second episode.
It's like, I'm gonna murder Hitler, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's the go-to. But I think that doesn't do enough long term. So the only thing you can do is really just make your life slightly better. I feel like I'd probably go back in time to when like either like a VHS copy of what movie would I like go back in time for? I'd probably like go back in time and like suggest that Blockbuster invest into Redbox. Save Blockbuster, or like, save like my local video rental stores from like, the coming like drought of being able to rent movies that is 2020.
Yeah.
Just really selfish, dumb stuff like that. That probably is what I would do.
You tell them to do Netflix before Netflix comes along.
Yeah. I would, show up as like a time traveler, explode into like the, the main like office of Blockbuster. like the Flash from that one Batman vs Superman movie. Like, Bruce, I showed up too early. It's me, Rob from the future. You don't know who I am yet, but listen, Netflix, she's the one this all depends on. And then I'd fall back through the vortex probably. Yeah.
Also, Netflix, it's a fine name, but Blockbuster, because then it's like blockbust and chill.
Oh,
and then it has
I don't know,
sexual connotation already thrown in there.
Blockbust and sleep, probably more accurate. Blockbust and get very tired.
Okay, yeah, because that's what happens when people orgasm.
Yeah, no. I was taking it to its next logical conclusion. Yeah.
No, I get hyped. I get angry.
Strong.
I get scared.
What?
I said,
what am I doing?
I'm like,
what happened?
What is making my beehole spasm?
Okay.
Immediately sobbing. I mean, listen, man, it happens to all of us. We just break down into tears in the middle of coitus, and I think we need to normalize crying during sex.
Or just normalize therapy.
Oh, I guess you could say that. Sure, I guess technically.
Hell yeah.
The pause there, I need to turn my webcam on again. But the pause was just like, oh, maybe I pushed it too far.
Oh, no. That was Nicole's doing with the therapy.
What's up?
Hell yeah, dude.
Hell yeah, therapy. Therapy is rad.
Let's get into episode notes then.
Yeah. You guys start, because I don't know your formula super, super well. So I'll just mimic.
Sure.
All right. We begin with Gien is talking to the family, the Laundrez. It's Dolnero and Leela. And he's like, oh, I'm just working on some stuff. And then Leela says, hey, it's bedtime. Let's go. So I'm wondering.
Are they fucking?
Yeah, I'm wondering, are they sleeping together, or do they just have the same schedule? And maybe they're doing like slumber party chatting before bed?
No, but they like looked at each other like it's sexy time.
It's hard to tell what the whale is thinking via his expression, other than like squinting menacingly. He doesn't really seem to have bedroom eyes.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess my read is that like they're like a family, and I guess I just treat them as like mom and dad kind of. Is the way that I kind of saw them. So they could be emotionally and physically connected. But like, yeah, they just kind of like they piece out together, and like that leaves Gien to like plot his plots. Mm-hmm. He's very much. Do you remember Snidely or whatever his name was from Snibbly, maybe from the Sonic cartoon?
No.
Oh man, he was like Dr. Robotnik's like Weasley henchman, and then like they teased season 2, and like at the very, very end, like Snibbly is like the evil bad guy who's going to be the main villain, and like there's a lot of that going on in this arc. I liked it.
I do know Snidely from Yogi Bear's First Christmas.
Snidely Whiplash? No, it's not Snidely Whiplash.
Nicole, you got them Bedroom Davis eyes. Because it sounds kind of like Betty Davis.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
No, I was there for it. I got it.
Nicole, you got to know?
Maybe all 3 of them are fucking.
Oh, hell yeah. One of them's literally a sex machine, and I am talking about Dolnero.
Dolnero says to Gian, don't do anything weird. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I kind of wondered if there was something that I missed from earlier episodes. Like, has Gien already started to like do dastardly deeds behind his whale boss's back?
Yeah, so I think it's only been a couple episodes where Dolnero and Leela are very money focused, and Gien's just wanting to watch the world burn, Joker style.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like, oh, please don't do this. And in future episodes, you will learn that this might be a trend.
Oh, okay. It does seem like an early setup for a second in command takeover, you know? It's like a trope in a lot of these shows where there's like, you know, the like very, very like laser focused villain who just wants to like, you know, I want the diamonds of the jewels. And then his second in command is like, yes, but we could also blow everything up. And then like the first guy's like, it seems a little bit far. I just wanted to, you know, like carry a big bag of money around, and it seems like you're kind of in a different league.
Yeah, guys, this is exactly like Bush and Cheney.
It's exactly like Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Oh, Thor and Ragnarok. It's true.
Yeah, you know the spaceship in Final Fantasy VIII?
Yeah.
It had its own motivations and goals that didn't align with Thor's.
Mm-hmm. Or Squalls. What's your first note, Nicole? Or you just said it?
I said it already.
You stole your mother's credit. Gian has a very sensual voice.
Sure.
Yeah, he's like, oh,
Yes. He's absolutely that like second in command, like, you know, scheming henchman. Mm-hmm. Yes, I would love to do that. Don't worry. I won't do anything evil. And then he's got his prank face. I love his like when his like eyes flip out and his mouth like springs open.
No, it's scary.
I love it though. It's so good. It's like a really like, cause he's got like the like constant like half shut eyes.
Yeah.
Where he's like always looks a little bit schemy, always looks a little bit like he's planning. But then occasionally his like little eye things will flip around to these big open wide eyes. And then his mouth pops down. It's creepy. I love it.
Just to punctuate his evil schemes.
Oh, that's not evil schemes. You don't see it on the other side, but they have a TV and it's playing Betty Boop cartoons.
Oh, he turns around and he awoogas at the screen. That's true.
Wow.
Ayase, what you might not know, he has a heart disease from the future that can't be cured. Yeah. But when he like falls down and he like clenches his chest and he just gets up and dusts himself off like nothing has gone wrong. That's like me at work when my previous job, and I would just violently throw up from ulcers and then go, anywho, and then people would be like, no, you need to fucking leave, dude. Just quit working.
Bud.
People would say, James looks like a ghost. I just heard him throwing up. Can someone please send him home? He might be sick. And then my boss would be like, it's his ulcers, actually. And they're like, yeah, he should still be going home.
Then,
and then
definitely send him home.
Then she'd go, I try all the time. And then I just have the cold shivers. And it's during the wintertime, so they have the heat on. And I'm like, oh, guys, it's pretty chilly in here. You want to turn up the heat?
Is anyone else sweating? I'm so cold.
And they're like, no, we're sweating for another reason. It's too warm in here. Remember, the radiator, what do you call the thermostat is broken. Yeah. There would be times at this job where the thermostat would break for our floor because it was in like 5 floor segments. And we were on the top, so all the heat would rise. And they'd be like, oh, no, it's all good on the 26th floor, and we're like, we have a thermometer. It is 98 degrees right now, and they'd be like, I don't know what's wrong. It looks good on our end, and we're like, no, we're having to send people home because it's too hot.
See, you got to crack open the windows, and then it'll just suction cup all the hot air out around you and whirlwind you.
This heat induced a premature labor. That did not actually happen. That did not happen.
Oh, geez. We did. I worked at a really crummy call center, and a guy called in dead. He had a heart attack and was dead and had to call in late to work, or called in saying he couldn't come in. And I remember my coworkers being like, oh, someone had to call in dead. And that was this iron spike to the brain, like a railroad spike jabbing into me, being like, look for another job.
Yeah.
You have to get out.
Yeah.
Call centers suck.
It sucks, man. It's the worst. It's the worst career, but it's the only career available.
Uh-huh.
What are we talking about?
Oh, speaking of
Senpai?
that,
I don't know.
I had another note going into that. Are there any other work stressors that you carry home to work? I mean, carry home from work.
I mean, now
apologize.
all of my work
Yeah, I'm
stressors
like,
are
what
home
do you mean?
stressors because.
Well, in the past, maybe.
Oh, in the past, yeah. I think that there is no work home balance. I think that's a lie. I think that's a lie that people say in corporate America as like a bit, like a fun, oh, you should keep your work life in your home. Is different because every single person has had a work dream, or has come to, or has a sudden realization about a project, or has some kind your brain is always calculating.
Yeah.
Even if you're not actively thinking about it, the traumas of work haunt you. Always.
Maybe it's just for corporate dudes who cheat on their wives.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
they have an excuse to not talk about it.
Listen, babe, I don't want to talk about work.
Yeah,
I'm banging my
exactly.
secretary. Oh, it's so stressful. I cry all the time. But that's normal, right, babe? Babe? So that's called reincorporation. You took a bit from earlier, and okay, you guys know.
Oh,
Maybe
boy.
the janitors, though, guys.
Yeah.
Instead
Hey,
of the secretaries.
show some love for janitors. Thank you.
The custodial crew needs your support in these times. They're constantly having to clean even more than they used to. So how about you just take out your hands, lube them up, and go to town?
Bang your janitor. Yeah, that's a good slogan. You could add that to a sticker or something. A pin.
Cuck the custodial crew.
Oh, well, but that's different.
Well, no, it's two custodians and you're having sex with one of them, so one of them
I
is getting
see. So
cucked and you
has to
just
watch. Yeah,
keep
I see.
rotating.
That's okay. Now I can see where I can see where you're going with
Or I
that
guess
one.
it would be cucked by the custodial crew. That's a better.
Oh, that would be that's a different one. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not even halfway through this
Yeah, I know.
episode.
Oh, man.
I told you it was going to be a long record because we vibe with Rob so much.
Nicole, what place would you hold hostage for trade secrets? Because a dude with a shotgun does as such to get some Lambda 2000.
Lambda 2000.
I would go
yeah.
to any place that would know the answer to this, which is just how to get our cat from waking me up every 3 hours at night. That'd be pretty
you should
dope.
Put small cat handcuffs on him and put him in a cat jail. Punitive justice here.
I think every time you go out, have a fart ready and just fart in his face and then go back in the room.
Yeah,
He's gonna love that though.
Yeah, I know.
Have you been around cats? They're super stinky. They love bad smells.
Yeah,
almost as much as dogs.
Frank smelled like a hamster, and this cat kind of smells a little sweet.
Oh yeah.
But that's because Nicole's toot smells sweet, so that makes
My
sense.
older cat smells like talcum powder, and I love her very much.
What about you? Where would you hold hostage?
For answers?
Oh, just so my thing is there's a specific Thai place that I would hold hostage to get their recipe for their curry fried rice.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant like a tie, like a necktie.
Oh, no.
And I was wondering where the next step of this would go. And I was kind of wondering well, I mean, I can teach you how to tie a tie, man. There's 100 different things, but I don't think you need to hold anyone up.
I would want to find a actual tie place to find like, hey, how do I make one strong enough to hold my entire weight in a closet?
Okay.
Oh, well, listen, man, we've lost too many good people to ties. I think we should ban ties and belts for a little while.
Ties, the number one killer.
Until rip Carradine. Ah, man. I did a whole episode where we somehow avoided talking about David Carradine's passing. I was really proud of us. We were covering
Carradine?
Oh, you don't know? Wait, do you not know really? Or is this a bit?
No, I don't know.
Oh, David Carradine from like Kung Fu and like a million bad 70s and 80s movies.
Okay.
He was Bill in Kill Bill.
Oh, okay.
He did the 5-point finger heart exploding thing, and then he coughs up blood and then his heart explodes. But then like a few months later, he was like, anyway, I'm going to go hang out in Thailand and hit on people. And then he masturbated in a closet and died from a rope or a tie or a belt around his neck.
Hell yeah.
He went out like a champ, I guess. Oof.
Who is it? I forget the name. Oh, man. There's a stand-up that has an invention in one of his stand-ups that is like, we should make an inflatable thing to help people who want to do autoerotic asphyxiation where it inflates, but it can feel your heartbeat. And if it starts to slow down, it starts deflating. So then you're all good. And then everyone would be like, yeah, autoerotic asphyxiation. There's no longer a stigma around it. You can just have great orgasms all the time.
Raises
Yeah, but then
a handful of questions.
If you make a product for that,
What's that?
specifically,
Yeah.
if someone dies, you are liable for that.
Absolutely. Mega liable.
Okay,
but a belt company, not
belts
liable.
are made. Yeah.
If you made like a water weight, like here's the way you get around it. You make a water weight, right? It's like a little floaty, and like it's like, oh, it's app controlled, so you can just put it on your kids and it'll inflate automatically and deflate, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You can just water weights or water floaties for adults. It's controlled with an app, and that's how you work around it. That's your workaround.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Corporate America can go like, what? People are dying from our product. Oh well.
That's not what we intended it for. These are tobacco pipes, not weed pipes.
Oh, they got us again.
Dang.
I'm sorry, guys. I need to find who this stand-up is so I can credit them.
So, Shadowy Premonition as like an episode is a really okay, yeah. So you've got like your Blue Ranger. He's having heart attacks. He's starting to die. Oh no. You've got an evil hammerhead cyborg shark with a shotgun.
Who's a terrorist
breaking into a facility to steal Lambda 2000, which can be created to make a little crystal thing that makes an infinite energy engine.
It's a high potency energy source.
Yeah. And then while he's doing that, the Red Ranger is trying to convince his Blue Ranger bud, like, hey, just tell everyone you're about to die because, like, I can't deal with the emotional strain of worrying about you. And then
and he's like,
he's just
fine.
like, no, I don't want to. And the episode kind of like revolves around that tension and the the heist movie aspect, which is just a treat. And the Rangers all have these like comically oversized laser guns. And this might be one of my favorite things about this is that they all have these giant freaking bazookas as like they're just like normal weapon, I guess.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so dumb.
Or they also have like these see-through
They can make swords.
Yeah.
But they can make a giant, like I remember Power Rangers, they all had components that would stab into each other that would make a giant gun. These guys are all running around with like torso-sized massive cannons. It's a hoot.
That then combine together to make an even bigger gun.
Even bigger gun. Oh, you love to see it.
Yeah.
And all of this is like capstoned with like them setting up to and then eventually going to a barbecue. And something really bothers me about this. They have this massive hunk of beef. And the one thing they're bringing out to like barbecue it with is this tiny little grill that is like not even quite the size of the beef they're trying to cook.
Yeah.
Now listen, I'm mostly an expert at barbecuing. There is no way you're going to be able to pack enough fuel to slowly cook through.
But they're making kebabs
massive...
though.
So they're probably just
yeah.
cutting it up.
They're cutting the beef. Okay, that's fair. You're right. That's a good point.
My problem was that they didn't prep everything before they brought it there.
They just show up and then they start trying to, like, come on, man. You can't go camping and then do a bunch of meal prep at the campsite. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, just cut up your carrots beforehand.
I also just realized something. At Tomorrow Research, they don't have a kitchen or a bathroom.
Are you sure though?
We've never seen a kitchen or a bathroom. We only see
they've got their living rooms.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they don't have it.
Yeah, but then it's like, is it a communal one, like on the other side? Because some office buildings, they'll have a communal bathroom and kitchenette.
Maybe, I don't know.
Who knows? But real quick, it's Joe Mandy. That is a stand-up and writer of, I think, Parks and Rec and The Good Place and all of that. His stand-up special on Netflix. Watch it. It's very good.
Did you have to like Google search the joke to try and find him?
No, I Googled The Good Place writers and then scrolled.
So
and
you
then
remembered that one key Total Recall moment. You could remember the woman with blonde hair and then you backtracked to the truth. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Man, I love Shadowy Premonition. What a really good, and like, yeah, it does a great job of also setting up Gian as like this like shadowy secret extra antagonist. I love it. What a hoot.
I got a couple more notes from that first episode. One, the shotgun guy, what was his name again, Nicole? Terrorist
Sandora.
He gets done with making the well, first he asks the scientists of like, hey, I want 1 kilogram of Lambda 2000. And they go, that's all? And he's like, that's all? I'll give you more to do. And then they're like, okay, we'll do it. But after it's made, they hand it off to him and he's like, good. Now this is your reward. Puts the shotgun right in their face. And that's almost as bad as like after crunching a bunch and having a terrible week at a call center. They're like, pizza party as a reward. And it's like, no, just give us a bonus.
Man, I remember we had forced overtime at my very, very bad call center job where we were selling health insurance to people in December. So it's all like the health insurance marketplace. And we had mandatory 12-hour days for like 2 weeks straight. Wild. And then they like celebrated it at the end by buying us like a to-go platter of like snacks from like a local grocery store.
Wow.
And I just like remember like the big celebration, like you did it. You spent your Christmas working in a like, you know, a crappy call center. Here's some dip with random dry vegetables. Huh?
Oh my God.
So
that blows.
I can relate to all these scientists making a small crystal at gunpoint.
Only to be shot in the face.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know.
And then in these 3 episodes, thousands of people are dying. There is no way that everyone got unscathed because the terrorist has these grenades everywhere and it's just blowing up buildings, entire buildings. And then I'll skip forward. The cyborg is literally obliterating entire buildings out of nowhere.
When he transforms, all 3 of these episodes, when the monster transforms into the big version, they literally do a spin attack at one point and they show an entire city block just erupt into flames. It is wild. Like I remember like Zone Fighter, it's like they throw a bomb into their neighbor's house like once an episode. Kaku Ranger, there's like some collateral damage, but like even in the very first episode of this show, it starts with like the 3 villains and their junk putties all just like destroying a city block and like shooting people and robbing banks and causing explosions. The collateral damage in this show is insane.
Yeah.
It is like wild how much property destruction there is in every episode, and then they never confront it. It's not like the next episode is like, well, we can't be in this prefecture because it's fucking leveled, so we're gonna go hang out in Tokyo now. Oh no, you know, it's like every episode the entire city is razed to the ground and then rebuilt by the next episode.
Yeah. And then we get on the 3rd episode, what was the dude's name?
Blaster Mad.
Yeah, Hell's Gate prisoner Blaster or Mad Blaster.
Mad Blaster?
I think.
Blaster
the wiki
Mad.
had him as
Blaster Mad.
Blaster Mad. Yeah.
And he is in prison for killing 1,030 people. And that's Joker levels of body counts. But I have a little
He kills
game.
way more than that in the actual episode, though, because he's running around throwing more grenades
into
and
just
shooting
cars.
people.
And then
Yeah.
the car blows up right away. That person would
Yeah.
not have been able to get out. But I wanted to do some digging and be like, wonder how many people has a single person killed as a serial killer. So let's play a game, guys.
I feel like that number is also kind of hard to nail down, because there was like that one guy who's like, yeah, I killed 500 women.
I've already calculated this. I'm going to go off from confirmed people dead.
Oh, okay.
So-
and not just, okay.
Would you like to first do United States serial killer or a global serial killer?
Yeah, we can do America first.
Okay, America first. Hey, that's the policy I live by.
Oof, yeah.
I will tell you, his name is Samuel Little, and he was active between 1970 and 2005.
He was an American president. Yeah. Mass murder, American president. Yeah.
Oh, Samuel Little was that? Okay. How many
No, I'm guessing.
do you guys think he killed confirmed?
Samuel Little, I would say 173.
I don't know, like 50.
Nicole is closest with 60 confirmed and 93 over a 35-year.
Okay, but
Wow.
how many people did Donald Trump kill out of negligence?
Okay, well, that's
Got him.
technically a different category because there was someone who did
That's
kill
mega murder. That's beyond mass.
someone had, as an angel of death type, had killed 500 people, but we're not counting that.
Yeah.
However, there is I forget what countries he killed in. His name is Luis Garnrito, I believe is his name. He only was killing for 7 years from 1992 to 1999. Is that 7? No, that's 8.
Okay, but he's international. He's Murder Without Borders.
15.
He's a Doctor Without Borders. I'm gonna say this because this is like globally the most.
Yes, so it would have to be over 60, Nicole.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with. We're gonna go with 78.
He killed a confirmed 138 people.
See, I should have gone higher.
However, it could be from 172 to possibly 300 plus. And he was sentenced to 1,853 years in prison. However, it was later reduced to how much do you think he served in prison, the reduction?
800.
I was gonna say 700, around 700. I really like the number 7. I'm feeling 7 right now.
You said 700 and you said 800?
Yeah.
22 years in prison for
Excuse- Wow,
killing
that's a huge-
138 confirmed people.
Hold on. How did he like?
Probably
was
sucking
he-
a lot of deedle.
Was it a really good lawyer? Like, I'm trying to like wrap my head around it.
Who
about,
fucking
like,
knows?
What
the court
the
case
hell?
where they want. Well, listen, he reads a lot of books now, and we just feel like restorative justice is going to be something that we can. Here's the thing, like, yeah, punitive justice doesn't make the victims feel any better, but also that seems like a pretty huge change from 1,000 years of frozen
to
compression
1800
prison.
to 22, which I mean, they're probably like, he's been in here for 22 years. That's much older than all of his victims. He was a child murderer.
Oh, wow. They're just really laying it on.
Child,
fuck?
yes, for 22 years. I don't know, guys. Someone look into this and let us know in a 5-star iTunes review.
I
Why
guess
are you
I'll
being
Google
so
search that.
dark this episode?
Get closer to the mic, dude.
I was far away because I was yelling, and you get mad at me when I yell in the mic.
I can hear you pretty well, but but that's fair. I've not heard of either of these dudes. Then again, I don't listen to a lot of like the murdery podcasts. Every time I listen to one, it's like always unavoidably sad.
Yeah. I don't
Because
either.
there's never one where it's like, and it turned out actually it wasn't nearly as bad as it started to sound. I like mystery stories, but I don't really enjoy like any of those like 200 years ago in a small remote village, like a family was attacked by a weird axe monster or something crazy like that, where it's like an unsolved mystery.
That's just a
fun,
man
but,
with an axe. It's not an axe monster, guys.
Well, it was back in the 200 years ago. They didn't know science or
The guy
anything like that.
is covered in blood, and he's like, yeah, I saw a monster holding an axe as he's like pushing his axe out of view of the police.
It
and
was
he's like,
crazy. Did you guys see it? It just ran that way over there. And all the
8 feet
police
tall.
officers.
I'm only 5'2", so I don't
Can't
know
be me.
anyone who could have done this.
Crazy.
That's what I would go back in time, just to fuck with people with folklores.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah. Making
local
fun folklore would be
cryptid.
fun. Yeah.
I'd be making them all up.
Yeah.
Urban legends.
That would be a fun thing to time travel with. It's just like make all the cryptid legends.
Yeah.
There's this green eye,
That's a fun time travel movie.
this green eye bipedal chunky cat with green eyes, tuxedo on. He's just going around screaming at people. He has one fang. His name's Franklin.
Black fur, white pubes.
Yeah. That's our cat. I would just make him a cryptid. He would be so happy. He'd be like, I'm
Put him
famous,
out in
guys.
the woods. Let him harass people. Yeah. I think my younger cat would like that.
And then for my last note for the first episode, wow, guys, is Sion asks Domon, hey, can I drink this? And Domon goes, no, that's oil.
Because he's like a little alien boy,
Yeah.
from what I can understand. He's got white hair.
Sometimes.
Or had. And then I guess he got tired of dyeing it at some point.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he doesn't wear a wig, so they were dyeing it
Yeah.
every single episode. That's bad for your hair, guys.
Yeah, it dries it out. It's no good.
No good.
Speaking of no good, do you want to move on to the Moonlit Night or Moonlight
Yeah.
Night? This was a lot of fun for two key reasons. First off, the story continues. You get like a really cool Nova robot, which is basically like a giant version of Gin. You get a cool like tank drill machine that like the humans of this era made as like a big defense thing, which causes reverberations throughout history, which is a super fun like narrative hook. But the best thing ever is that the super cool mecha from the future arrives. And it's like, do you remember like the big turtle mech or the Dragon Zord from Power Rangers that could fuse with the Megazord and make it even cooler and even better?
Please don't bring up
That's
the turtleneck. Please don't bring it up.
Cause it's dumb.
I love the turtle mech.
Real quick, I thought
Because of your
Nicole
poor
likes
gift giving skills.
Nicole likes turtles, and we love Die Ranger. That Zord is from Die
No, I
Ranger.
like frogs.
Well, you also like turtles.
I
so
call you turtle.
I bought her that thinking it'd be cool, and then she was just so nonplussed by it. She's like, yeah,
Wow.
this
because
is...
you built it up as this like incredible,
It was,
amazing
though.
gift.
Oh,
That
but
is a really good gift. TBH.
we ended up
And it was
giving
like
it...
this huge plastic turtle
Yes.
neck. And I was like, what am I
Amazing.
going to do with this?
We did this very dumb...
Hollow it out and make it a backpack.
Trivia. I think it's on episode 12 of this show. It's the first Eric Berry and Teresa Berry from Ranger Command Power Hour. We did this dumb trivia thing, and it was designed to make Eric win, so I could then be like, all right, I have a prize for you. And I bring this out, and he's like, wait, what? Are you really giving that to me? I was like, yeah, Nicole doesn't want it, unfortunately. And he's like, I do not have this. I will absolutely take it from you.
Time Shadow
Yes.
is a giant mech ninja thing that also transforms into a big jet. All their mechs are jets, which I love how they friggin' punch robot flings them into the future or past. Love that so much. But Time Shadow has his own theme song, which is this like belting Japanese version of like a Frank Sinatra song. It's so good, dude. It's the most amazing.
rad.
I was like cooking when this was happening. I was watching, I'm like, and then all of a sudden I look over because I hear the theme song starting. I was like, oh, they got like a new theme song. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's a theme song for this specific robot, for this one particular moment. And his like arrival is like the moon gets eclipsed, the robot flies through it and like lands gracefully on top of like a building. It's like if you took Sailor Moon and made it a mech.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Oh my gosh, Fighting Evil by Moonlight. Man.
Rob, you got some good days ahead of you because I'd like to inform you a lot of the secondary mechs in Sentai get their own theme song.
Yes! Awesome. That's so good. The intro theme song of this whole show was amazing, and I thought that would be kind of like the peak of it. I was very wrong. I just head over heels for this Time Shadow song. I loved it.
Heck yeah. I said, Nicole, can you get a sunburn from stage lights? Because she was trying to tan with stage lights, and that's...
Yeah.
Can you get a sunburn from a campfire? Guess what, guys? You can. And then also, Time Shadow he also has his own voice, like he's talking, and it sounds like a fighting arcade cabinet. Like if you're walking by one, you start hearing people talking, and you're like, oh, that's a pretty cool game, but it's actually just a giant robot behind you.
Yes. It's like, what a great addition to the show. I need to rewatch from the get-go and like watch every single episode, but like this addition might be the highlight of the show for me. I love the design. It's very simple. That's one thing about the mechs in this. Like I'm used to like with Kaku Ranger and with Power Ranger and like the things I've seen, like usually they're very like leg heavy mechs. But then most of the mechs in this have very, very skinny legs and big buff bod torsos. It's a neat twist. I love it.
There's one more mech in this, and it's a dope mech for this season.
Oh man, I can't wait.
Hell yeah. You mentioned it earlier when that time riff happens, time stops, but then they see like clones of themselves. So I have a question. If you guys had a clone of yourself, what would you do with it?
I would murder it. There can only be one.
I am a constantly busy and imminently tired man that is trying to do creative stuff while also working an exhausting day job. So I would literally just like, if I met my clone me and he had the same weird brain, I'd be like, okay, you go and make all the costumes and write stuff. I'm going to do the day job for today. And then like, I won't have to worry about it. And then we'll just switch off. We'll just swap every once in a while. It'd be great.
Yeah.
That would be what I would do ideally. If I could time clone myself and just make a me do something, it would be just like, finally I can get things done.
For me, I'd probably take over the Sklar brothers' careers, talking in stereo to people. What I would really do is, I might enjoy performing live because then I wouldn't need to take breaths. One would do 2 bars, the other would do 2 bars, and we would just keep going back and forth. I would never pick up a sweat.
Mm-hmm.
And you could basically do the Prestige at that point,
The Prestige.
I don't know if you've ever watched that movie. It's
like one of my favorite movies.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. David Bowie's in it. That's a treat.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird.
Best Tesla.
Hell yeah.
I have famously now never seen that movie.
Famously?
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, because of the Engage with Nicolas Cage episode.
Yeah, sure.
A very funny joke in the newest Nicolas Cage, Wild at Heart, Engage with Nicolas Cage, over on patreon.com/MLM pod. You got to check it out.
There's a new Nicolas Cage movie coming out that I'm really excited about where he's strapped with explosives and released from a prison and then told it's like filmed by like some Japanese director. So like, it's just like Nicolas Cage and then a bunch of people who are not native English speakers as he screams and like threatens them to try and save this man's daughter, because if he doesn't, then the pleather suit he's wearing will explode and kill him instantly.
Nick Cage has been in a renaissance of people who are like, I know what he needs to do, and we're going to allow him to do that. Instead of all these artsy directors who are like, we're trying to wrangle him in. And it's like, no, just let him go.
I mean, I think that like he's able to do any of them. I think his best films are the ones that are like slightly artsy, but let him go all in. Like Mandy is incredible. And Wild at Hearts is also really good.
Half of
like,
it's
because, good. Oh, that's fair. Half of it's really good. The second half is like, you got momentum at that point. It's fine.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I adore Nick Cage. Anyway, I'm sorry. I've derailed us.
Oh, no,
somewhat.
I derailed. Now let me re-rail. Gien's whole mission is to destroy Earth, make humans kneel on their knees. Yes, kneel before him so he can descend as a god.
Gien's like colors being revealed in this make him feel super like threatening. I really love that like trope of the second in command is actually way more terrifying than the first in command, because usually the first in command has like a goal. Like Megatron, you know what you're dealing with, right? I want to steal all the energon. You know, like you've got, like, you know what his plan is. But then Starscream, like Starscream is nuts. He just wants to he wants to kill, you know, he wants power. He just exclusively wants to rule and control no matter what it takes. And so that unprincipled, it's basically like a lawful good villain being replaced by a lawful evil character being replaced by a chaotic evil character in the course of like a story. And it's like, what? It's a very good trope. I love it.
Is that like the Tarantulas character from Beast Wars?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh man, we can talk Beast Wars. I'm in for Beast Wars.
Hell yeah, man. I love Beast Wars.
I usually revert to Transformers because that's like more well known. But like I was a Beast Wars addict at the time.
I only know Beast Wars. I have never seen Transformers.
Oh man,
I own it all on DVD too. It's a great show.
Nice. Oh man, it was so good, so classic, and then just kept getting progressively weirder and weirder. And then there's Optimus Primal, Optimus. Oh gosh, what was his? When he becomes a truck ape.
Yeah, man, a friend of mine had it, and I was so jealous of it.
Optimal Optimus, that was it. Optimal Optimus, and I had that toy.
Oh, I'm jealous.
I remember it. It was so good. My friend had like the old like Megatron and old Optimus for years, and I was just like, I had the gut laser Cheetor, and that was my contribution. Did you not have that toy? The original Cheetor came with a like his belly could come out, and that was his gun, his little blaster. And in the show, it has like these weird like purple organs on it. So what they did is it's like literally a gut gun, and you could squeeze it in water, and it was a little plastic sack that could like suck in water, and you could shoot it. It was so fun.
The coolest toys I had were ripped off fence posts sharpened to be swords.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a solid toy growing up in the South. Let me tell you.
My parents were like, "Hey, we don't care how dangerous that is. It didn't cost us money."
Don't stab your siblings or the neighbor kids. And if you do, hide it. Hide the weapon.
Well, these were always slashing. They weren't stabbing. Like we would just do like the edges of it. They were pretty cool.
Oh, you'd sharpen the full. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then we would wrap a bunch of duct tape around the handle so it gave it some cushion.
Grippies.
And so we wouldn't get splinters.
Oh yeah.
Then we would hop fences and have a great time.
We had a lot. We played War. And there were different editions. There was Water Gun War, where if you got wet, you had to sit in the medic tent, which was basically just like an garage until you dried off. It was really fun. My friend put his mom's hairdryer out.
I was just about to say
garage to get people back into the game earlier, and then we got in trouble because the other team saw it. And then the other one was Nerf War, which is like you had like actual Nerf darts, and then it was just like, oh, you're frozen until your teammate comes and tags you. Good times. Oh man, War.
Hell
it's
yeah.
Fun. It's fun times. Fun time kick games.
I just realized that as I was jumping those fences with swords made out of fences, I've dominated fences.
Yeah.
It's true. Show those fences who's bossed. No borders. James is without borders.
Are we on to the last episode?
Yeah, sure.
Ooh, Nicole, did you have any notes on Moonlight Night?
I mean, you guys pretty much like hit everything.
Sorry.
Except maybe like the fact that time stopped, like time space got a little messed up, where all the people around them just like froze, and then there were doubles of the Time Rangers, and they were all freaking out about it.
There was one very cool practical effect. I'm guessing it's practical, that can tipping out. They must have used like a resin or something. It just looked very cool because it was frozen in time falling over a soda pop.
I think like the 5th or 6th episode of Ultra Q does something similar, except it's back in the like 60s or something. It's so cool. I love that, like, practical effects to emulate like time freezing. You know, everyone's like not moving. I love the like people in the mid slap and the like soda can or Sprite can hanging in the air. And like the only way you could tell that it was like practical is like, the people were standing there and like their backpack tassels were still blowing in the breeze. But that was so fun. I loved that time freeze section. Just good stuff.
And speaking on the time freeze, in the last episode of this arc, Tak is like, oh, that must have happened because what Gien is doing is causing a like rift and is changing history. And they're surprised by this. But if aliens...
Domon is like freaking out the whole episode.
Yeah, if like monsters came back from the future and killed thousands of people, of course that's going to change history. One of those people could have made a scientific advance that changes the world or even just slightly modifies it. But then if that then gets piggybacked using that technology into a greater technology, that string of technological advances will not happen.
Well, I think like the implication in the first episode was that like this was all supposed to have happened.
Yeah.
Like, like we have to fight him because we have to fight him, but that's like, it's on purpose. And so that's why in the first episode, the like Red Ranger guy is like, oh, so everything's just predetermined. That sucks. I want to change my destiny. I want to be in control of like what happens next.
Yeah.
So what I really liked is that this is kind of like the culmination of the Red Ranger's big desires, which is like to not have like a set future, but seeing how much it affects Domon's character and how like really kind of gutted he is about the thought of like, oh my gosh, my future may not exist when I finish this mission. Like I may not exist. And like that kind of like, and it really kind of like hits that fever pitch in the Renewed Bond episode. It really is like a Time Yellow Ranger episode. And I really like that about Sentai when it has like, hey, we're going to focus in on this character or these two characters' relationships. Even though it's like a 5-person team each time, you get to kind of like shift that focus around.
If you want a series that does that very well, Die Ranger, check that out. It's our favorite one.
Die Ranger also has like my favorite monsters too.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, also, I was going to touch on this. There are Sentai books that just have the concept art of, there's 2 of them. They've become pretty expensive, like in like the $150 for like, I think 700 pages though.
Yeah, well, that's shit.
It's been very good of me determining what season I'm going to watch next, because I'll look through it and I'll be like, oh, this has awesome monster design. Let me watch that one.
Yeah. I will say that like sometimes the monster design, like for how wacky the characters end up acting, the monster design looks so real and so like intimidating. Blaster Mad is like this weird vivisected white and red grenade wielding, like blaster holding shark
maybe
person man.
Crab,
kind of like
shark,
Depth Charge from Beast Wars. Yeah, this is a really great like conclusion of like Gien's arc, because like finally the rest of the characters kind of are like the other 2 like leads show up finally and are like, hey, did you send us on vacation to trick us? Because like seems like you've been doing some bad stuff. It really kind of like has like, it's a good 3 arc story. I can see why you wanted to have all of these in one episode to cover, you know?
Yeah, because the main thing is I want people to get the full story, and I don't want someone coming in on the 3rd episode and being like, okay, well, I can piece this together, but it would still probably be more powerful if I saw all of it.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. Because it does build off of it. Like, you know, in episode 1, you have Gien stealing this, like, basically interacting with this time and teaching someone, incidentally, how to make, like, this infinite energy crystal. And then in episode 2, you have him utilizing that to try and like, you know, make his own giant robot. But then the humans of this era are using that same technology to make their own giant robot. Womp. Time freezes and dilates and gets all weird. And then the third episode is the big conclusion of that, which is like, oh no, time is changing. That robot that showed up in the last episode, Time Shadow, he was supposed to be not done for another 15 years. So somehow he's already finished. I don't know how that's happening. Their little like Tack, their robot owl buddy, is like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
And that like big conclusion to this like 3-episode arc, it feels like, even though each episode does contain that very, very good Sentai kind of like episode by episode progression, to have that like overarching story, it's good stuff.
Maybe Time Shadow's just kind of like the COVID vaccine. You think it would take years to make, but because of things we have, you can get it quickly made if the entire world
just 3D
is...
print it. It's true.
Oh, yeah. Or get it out of the back of a model magazine as cardboard.
Oh, yeah.
That's from Car Ranger.
Oh.
The one of their biggest robots is a model kit. I only have one more note, so Nicole, you got any?
Not really, no.
My last one is Time Shadow has, when they fuse that on the third episode with the Time Jet and Time Shadow, you know, the arm thing knocks this huge sword into the time machine, the Stargate, and then
It's time bubble thing, yeah.
and then it comes out of its back like as a whale thing. Like its back has a time hole in it, and I was like, whales probably have a time hole too. If you shove your fist down in there, you'll probably go to a new time.
No.
I don't know if that's accurate.
I also wrote down all whales are water births.
Okay.
Technically true.
Unless it's beached somehow and sat and is in labor, and now you have 2 beached whales.
Wow.
That's a lot of problems for all parties involved in that situation. Let me tell you something.
And then if both of them die, you just put dynamite in them. Have you guys seen that video?
That doesn't work. It doesn't work. I've watched. That was the 70s when we didn't really know what to do with whales.
And then people from around town came to watch them blow up this whale, and then it just rained whale meat on the ongoers, and it was this totally fucked, like apocalyptic looking scene of people running because whale was raining on them.
Whale like debris is smashing cars as people are like frantically trying to get away. Rotting whale, by the way.
Yes.
Not even just like
Idiot.
cooked rotting whale, and just frantically like trying to run to safety. Man, really should have thought that one through.
That's what you had to do for entertainment back then, is be like,
that's
yeah,
true.
guys, let's go down to the bay and watch a whale get blown up.
Yoo-hoo, shitheads, I found some fireworks in the men's bathroom. You want to go set them off?
Is that from Hot Rod?
You know it is, baby.
If Nicole says something in that style that I don't know what it is, I just know it's Hot Rod. You got any last things to say, Robert?
Time Ranger's great. Check it out.
Hell yeah.
It's really, really fun. I didn't know that there were so many of the Shout Factory shows on Tubi.
Yeah.
So I downloaded that onto my PlayStation, and I just watched it while I was cooking, and it's a hoot and a holler. It's just an absolute treat. I loved every minute of watching this show.
Heck yeah. And then we got one last thing for you. So a lot of these criminals, their names are the crime they committed, what their specialty was, and then their name. So if you were a part of the Laundress and you were in this as a criminal, what would your crime be? And throw your name. If you have an alias you like going under, use that as your name, whatever.
Accidental Candy Bar Joe, or George, I think might be good. Let's see, what's another one? Unprinted movie pirate Rob, I guess.
Okay.
Pirate Rob.
Let's go back to this accidental candy bar. What do you mean by that?
Oh, just like my memory of my first crime that I ever committed as a kid was like at a grocery store, and I like only remember bits of it. I remember like, you know, I like picked up a Milky Way bar while we were at the checkout, and then like my mom needed help like unpacking the groceries from the cart, and I just like instinctually was like, oh, I'll just put this in my pocket, and that way I can move the groceries with my big old arms. I'm a good kid. And then I remember walking out afterwards, And like I was unconsolable after stealing a candy bar from a checkout aisle at a Albertsons, I think.
Okay.
I have like a distinct memory of that being my first crime.
All right. So how using this accidental candy bar, George, you said?
Yeah, that's my pen name, George Wright.
How would you use that to make money for the Laundrez?
Now listen, it's a long con, and it's one that I think will have a great payoff eventually.
A great
But it
payday.
can only work. A great payday. It's a candy bar. If you very, very slowly go with a bunch of groceries that you're going to buy already, but then like sneak one single item in your back pocket and then like pay for the rest very slowly, it's a net positive.
I also, you might be a great distraction because let's say.
Sobbing as I
Yeah.
return the candy bar while they go and do crimes. That's true. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And I think that could also be a way you would defeat the Time Ranger just with sympathy.
Oh.
They'd be like,
They
oh
would
my
feel
God.
really bad if this like well, here's the thing. I've been watching Kaku Ranger and they'll still kill a nice kaiju. So if I was like a weird, like, you know, I don't know, like half checker piece, half salamander, and I had stolen a candy bar, and then I walked back with my head is like one of those big, like, you know, or mahjong piece with like eyes sticking out of it and a big old tongue. And I walk back and I'm sobbing and I'm like, I stole this candy bar. I'm really sorry. And then meanwhile, like the real kaiju are stealing stuff out of the back, just like doing their own thing.
Yeah.
I think the Rangers would still blast me into a small toy and then capture me.
Okay. At least you gave it a go, and at least you didn't really do much wrong. Yeah, you were in cahoots with criminals, but you could also then say like, oh my God, they were going to blackmail me and they were going to kill my parents. Then you could cry even more.
I think, listen, that's the thing. Crime is crime, especially in the future. Like, I may have only been frozen, compression frozen for like, you know, a few months, but like they just took the whole kit and caboodle. So who knows? I don't know how they do deal with crime in the future. It seems pretty exacting. TBH.
Actually, this is how you could further defeat the Time Ranger. This will be the last thing. They're sobbing and they're like, they try to console you, and as they hug you, you start shanking them in the sides.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
They're bleeding out. They're now crying. And then you're running away still with chocolate bar in pocket.
Shove a chocolate bar in their wound.
And a knife. Chocolate bar in one hand, knife in another, sobbing. What have I done?
Oh, you want to know what? You eat a lot of chocolate, so your teeth aren't the best. But what you do is you kind of deep throat the chocolate bar, get it nice and slobbery, then you stick it in them, and they get infected, and they have an even worse death.
Instead of part lizard, part like Komodo dragon specifically. A mahjong dragon.
Maybe.
Maw dragon.
All right, guys, that's it. Rob, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, glad to be
Thank
here.
you.
What do you have to plug?
But check out Tokyo Lives. Next month is going to be extremely busy. We're covering like the new Pacific Rim anime that's coming out, and then at the end of the month, obviously GVK is coming. So unfortunately, there's not going to be another Signals. But next week or around the same time, I'll be releasing a new episode of Tokyo Signals, where I'm talking about Evangelion. Story arc by story arc. It's a lot of fun. Lisa Nofziger joined me. It was a hoot to record with her. So.
Who is that?
She's like an artist. She does
Kaiju
all the,
Lai?
Yeah, she does Kaiju Lai, Mini Monday. Recently she's been doing the cross fiction thing where she's having like kaiju kissing is her new thing, which is very, very fun.
I was trying to find. We have a bunch of her art because she goes to G-Fest.
G-Fest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicole, what you got to plug?
Oh, everything, baby. All the social medias. I'm Darling Homebody. I now have a Twitch where I draw stuff. It's Darling Homebody again. But not Darling Homebody again, but just Darling Homebody. Cool. Patreon.com/darlinghomebody and darlinghomebody.com for creepy cute stuff.
Chia. Hey guys, MLMpod.com to find out about my other podcasts, also to download and listen to my music under Marshland Monster, which is available on all the streaming services. It's great. Then please go over to Mostly Speakin' Sentai on Twitch. Also, I'm streaming with Lil Corey, who is the DM on Hit It and Crit It. We have been doing RPGs a couple times throughout the week. We just got done with Undertale. We're going on to Pokemon Adventure Red Chapter. It's a ROM hack for Pokemon Fire Red, but it follows the manga? Storyline.
Yeah.
It's great. That is Nomads 101. It's MOMADZ 101. We're having a great time over there on Twitch. Then head over to patreon.com/MLMpod to get exclusive podcasts such as Engage with Nicolas Cage, Talking About Beyblade, the Toku Reading Corner, and the newest one, the Podcast That Be, which is where TC and I, it's our companion podcast to What the Hellmouth, where we're talking about Angel, where we normally talk about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That you can get all of that stuff for just $5 a month. If you're on the $10 a month, you'll start getting either exclusive streams, which has been going on, or watch-alongs, which I think the next one coming up will be Meet the Deedles, but we have a Casper one over there right now. But also, if you're a $10 patron, you get a shout out on all our free feeds. So let's begin, starting with Steve F., a.k.a. Hit People Guy, Eric Berry of Ranger Command Power Hour, a.k.a. Trekkie BB-8, even though it's Trekkie B47, Alex Z., a.k.a. The Waz, Defo, who I hope will be a guest someday on the podcast coming up soon, because his album is just about done, and I mixed the entire thing, so I'd like to have him on to promote it. Under D-FO. It's kind of hard to search it on streaming services. Kayla, a.k.a. Two Grapes, Grunfox, or Duo Grunfox, I apologize. That's Two Fox for the price of Grun. Tyler Wright, a.k.a. Burvy, my best friend, and Elliot W., a.k.a. at Garlic Sunshine on Instagram. He's done great fan art of Franklin and Corwin and I. And that's it.
That was a lovely event. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for being here, and I've been James.
I'm Nicole.
And I'm Rob.
And we've been, and then we'll say Mostly Speakin' Sentai, and we've been Mostly Speakin' Sentai. Bye-bye. See you in class, bitch sticks.
What? Oh my gosh. Bye.
That's something from a different podcast that Nicole usually accosts me for. See you guys. Bye. This has been a Marshland Media production, produced by James McCollum. For more content, please visit MLMpod.com. To support our network and have access to exclusive podcasts, head over to patreon.com/MLMpod and sign up today.